guys, so if you follow my Instagram or even my Depop, you may have seen some posts this week which weren't exactly too positive. I have been battling over the past week to get back over £170 worth of money that was effectively stolen from me. I was actually part of a crystal scam which is still going on at the moment, hence why I thought it was a good idea to make this video and let you know. Even if you're not a fan of crystals, this may still apply to you because the shop does sell jewellery and other similar things could also happen. So I thought I would tell you the process I went through when I realised I got scammed, what I did, who I contacted and how I got my money back. So I'm going to rewind a month and a half ago when I discovered Depop, the app. I know I've been talking about it loads and I've been giving it nothing but praise. Now the app itself does have a few loopholes and that's what I want to talk about today. Now I was buying some crystals off a lady. Her name was Luna Girl, or her shop was called Moonchild Metals because your username and your shop name don't have to be the same. Now it's fairly common on Depop to have your Depop shop and an actual website or an Etsy store running alongside it because Depop do take quite a large percentage out of your earnings. So if you can draw people into your shop and then divert them away from Depop, then you can actually get more customers and not lose out on so much money. The shop, which is formerly known as Moonchild Metals, who do have an Instagram as well and also an actual online store, they sell loads of really interesting crystals and this is what drew me to it. I have been expanding my crystal collection and just getting some more unique pieces, and I was completely drawn in by crystal skulls, she did little crystal hedgehogs. They're all really unique pieces that I'd never seen before. I also bought some necklaces off of her and some crystal spheres. I did end up racking up a very large bill. Now this was over the course of a month and a half, so I didn't quite realise I'd spent just over £170. I was thinking it would be more like £100. At the end of the day, these pieces were amazing and I was just really looking forward to getting them. Like I do with every Depop store, before I do purchase, I do look at the review stars at the top of the page, and her one said that she had thousands and thousands of reviews and her overall rating was 5 stars. So I was just thinking, fantastic, very successful seller, and obviously people are getting their things and loving them. So she marked my item as shipped, and as she seemed to do with everyone, she said that it was tracked and also signed for. So I did wait the next day at home to collect my item. I wasn't quite sure whether or not it would get there. It didn't, so I just sort of thought, whatever, next day. A week went on and I was kind of concerned, so I sent her a message, and beforehand she had replied to every one of my messages. When I wanted to buy something, she was really quick at replying. But as soon as I had a question about something I'd already bought, when she'd already got the money, that was the end of it. I didn't get any reply at all. So I started to worry. I kind of had a little look through her review. Kitten. When I didn't get a reply, I started to look through her reviews, and that's when I started noticing that not everything was perfect. She'd have a really fantastic 5-star review, they were really happy, and the next one would be 1 star and just said never received my item. And as you'd scroll, she'd get 3 or 4 more 5-star ones and then a 1 star and then more 5 stars and a 1 star, and it just continued along like that. And because she had so many reviews, somehow it just equaled out that she had 5-star overall. And of course I was in a bit of denial. I didn't think I'd be that one person who wasn't going to get their item. But I did have a little niggle in my brain just because I hadn't got them yet. So I contacted her, and over the 2 weeks I still had gotten no reply. And this is when I got a little bit worried. So with Depop, when you pay a seller, the money goes into their wallet, but they can't actually access it until 2 weeks are done. So after the 2 weeks, they can then withdraw the money and it can go into their own bank account so that they can sell it and do whatever they want to with the money. Depop do have a policy that if you do leave things for too long, so leave it more than 2 weeks, as soon as the seller has withdrawn the money from their wallet, they have no control over the money and they can't do anything about it. So I wanted to catch it before the lady had a chance to actually withdraw my money. If you do leave it too long and you're just waiting, the money can then go into their account, they can spend it, they can do whatever they want with it, and Depop can't actually force them to give you a refund. So if you are looking for a refund for a Depop product, make sure that you do file a report about the seller, or even like contact the seller asking for a refund before the 2 weeks are up. I made my claim on 1 week and 6 days, so I cut it pretty close, but I did want to make sure that I wasn't just making a fuss out of nothing and that this seller had actually not sent me my items. I then sent Depop a message. So what you need to do is go onto the purchase bit, click on the item you haven't got, which in my case was around, I think there was around 14 items I hadn't got, and then you click help and I didn't receive my item, and then I typed a really long description of what happened, everything I'd sent to her, things that she had replied back and things she hadn't replied back to, and I just told them what had happened, and I just asked them Like, where is my item? Is it at her house? Is it in the post? Can I get my money back? What's going on? They pretty much replied and said that they contact her and give her 2 days to reply to them, and from then we'll just work out what's going to happen. Whatever, I went to work, and within an hour she had sent me a message, and she replied saying, sorry, I didn't get these messages, and I did try and send you a message last week, but it didn't send. Apparently you have given us the wrong home address, which was complete rubbish because my home address is automatic. So I entered it when I first got Depop, and I give everyone the same home address, and I've got loads of like packages from Depop from other sellers. So this was blatantly an excuse, but she said that the post office had said that it wasn't a valid address, it had been sent back to her home, and that she needed me to confirm my address so that she could send it off that evening. So I thought, great, problem solved. Obviously there'd been a little bit of miscommunication, whatever. I kind of didn't really mind that she had quite blatantly lied to me, and I just gave her my address again, and I expected that it was sent off that day. So I left it a couple of days, and Depop, when I made the claim, actually took the money out of her account. So as soon as you make a claim against someone, which is something I do really love about Depop, they take the money straight out of their wallet, so they can't have any access to it, and they will give it back as soon as the problem is solved. But if the problem isn't solved, it means that they have the money and they can either just give it straight back to you, or they can work out some kind of middle ground. Now of course I waited the obligatory 4 to 5 days and I still didn't get my item. I did ask for a tracking number because it was apparently sent tracked, but I still didn't get anything. So I ended up just sending her a message asking for a refund, and she just didn't reply. That was when I started going through her reviews, and I contacted all the people who had given her bad reviews, and it turned out that a lot of people had given her good reviews, although they hadn't even got an item from her. And this is purely because of blackmail, because on Depop, which I think is not a great feature to it, if you give a seller a bad review, they can give you as a buyer a bad review as well, and that will take your overall like star rating down. So if you're a little shop like mine, if I get one bad review, it means that my 5-star reputation can go down to 2.5, which can completely push away all of the potential buyers from my shop, even though as a seller I have done absolutely nothing wrong, and as a buyer I haven't actually done anything wrong either, other than ask for a refund. There was still no reply, and I was getting really anxious. I added up all the money I'd spent, and that's when I realised it was £170+, and that's when I thought, crap, I need to do something. So I wrote out a little description on Instagram. I just let everyone know about her. I let people know that they should avoid her. Even though she's selling amazing things and she'll send you lovely messages, you'll never actually get them, in my opinion anyway. I know that some people do get their items, but for my case, I never got them. I also put out a thing on Depop asking if anyone had any contact with her, as well as warning people about her, and I got so much amazing response from everyone. People were replying with helpful information about the best way to get a refund, how to get a refund, how to contact her, email addresses she also has, and any sort of good and bad experience they'd had with her. And it was really reassuring to like listen to other people's stories and find out that they also had never received their items from this lady, but they had still got all their money back in the end. So it did make me feel a little bit more at ease, but I was still £170 down and I had nothing to show for it. That's when Depop replied, and they said that they had been in contact with her, but that was pretty much all the information they gave me in the email. So I sent them another email thanking them greatly for actually taking the time to contact her, and also telling them that she had said she sent the item, but you know, it still hadn't come. This was the second time I'd been through this, and I just kind of got to the point where I just wanted my money back. I just didn't want to deal with this seller anymore. And after this whole like month wait, when I got these items, I wouldn't have felt any connection to the crystals. I wouldn't have even liked them that much when I got them, just because as soon as I look at them, I knew it would remind me of this horrible experience. That's when Depop really stepped up their game. They literally took all the money out of her account, and they pretty much said, unless you can give us a valid proof of postage, then I would be getting my full refund. She couldn't give them an actual proper evidence of postage, but she did send me an email which completely ruined the whole progress of it. She said that she had posted them out this evening. So this was around 9 o'clock, and she said she had just posted them. So alarm bells started to ring for the fact that post offices in England usually like shut at the latest at like 5:30. I know maybe in like London and places they'll be open a bit longer, but where I live 5:30 is like the latest you'll ever be able to go to a post office, and like quite late in the evening I wouldn't have imagined there'll be that many open. But whatever, I was just like, okay, so you have sent it. But I wanted my refund. I didn't want the items anymore. And so she said that she could either pay for me to send the items back to her, or she could go down in the morning and get the post back from the post office. Now, although this second option sounded completely ridiculous, because you all know as soon as you take something to the post office and you've paid for it and it's gone behind the scenes, it goes into sorting bags and then it's collected at least once or twice a day, and then it gets shipped off and sorted, especially if it's first class like she was sending my items. So it sounded so ridiculous that she could have sent it one day and then offered to go back the next day and try and collect it from behind the scenes. So I just said, okay, sure, if you can do that, that would be fantastic. And sure enough, the next day I sent her an email in the morning saying, did you get it? Like, were you able to go behind the scenes and get my post? And she said, yeah, she had some contacts in the post office and she had quickly grabbed out the van before they'd started shipping it away. Now, I can tell you this for a fact, this is a complete lie, because first off, she had absolutely no proof that she was the sender of the item. It doesn't matter if you know the person or not. I don't think there is any policy within the actual Royal Mail that would allow you to go and like claim a piece of post that you've sent off to be yours and ask for it back, especially after you paid for it to be posted as well. And the fact that if she'd sent it first class, it would have been like sort of like priority sent, so it would have been shipped away from the premises like really quickly so that it could get to me by the next morning. But she claimed this had happened and she said that I could have my money back. So although she had blatantly lied to my face, I was still getting my money back, which was good. She started refunding me some of my items because I had bought them on different days and separately, and I'd done it a little bit of a fiddly way round because she kept uploading things and then I'd be like, oh, I want that, I want that, I want that. She had to refund them all to me separately. So I got like around 8 refunds from her overall, and then I was still waiting on 2 of the really big purchases I made, which were like custom orders, which were around £30–40 each. And those were the main ones I wanted to get my money back for, because those were the ones which I personally selected and spent so much time talking to her about and asking her about and getting photos of the things I was buying. And I just felt like those were the ones I put so much time into and spent so much money on, and I wanted the money back for that. But she told me because I had opened a dispute with Depop, she couldn't actually refund me for those because it meant that Depop were now responsible for her money. Now, it kind of makes sense. If Depop have taken the money out of her wallet, then that's great. It means they have the money, they can give it to me. But because she refused to refund me, it kind of sort of backfired, and then it looked like she was kind of battling against Depop, and it just made this whole drama. If she had just sent an email to Depop and say, yeah, I'm happy for this to be refunded, then they would have just sent it straight to me and it wouldn't have been an issue. At the end of the day, I spent loads of emails, there was loads of backwards and forth contact with Depop, and in the end they agreed to just give me the refund and then sort it out with the seller afterwards. So I was actually refunded by Depop. So yes, I got all my money back, which is fantastic. And I looked to my PayPal and sure enough, it was all there. All of my I think it came to about £175 altogether, was in my PayPal account, and it said it had been refunded and it was green, which means that it has been accepted by my bank, which is fantastic. But where is my money gone? It wasn't in my PayPal wallet, it wasn't in my bank account, and it obviously wasn't in my Depop wallet. So I was a bit like, great, I've got my money back, but where is my money? I trolled the internet. I have been like cancelled orders and got refunds before, and I've never had any issue with it. The money's always gone straight back into my account. So I was a little bit confused, but I sent Depop a message and they were straight back, and they just said it takes a couple of days to clear. It's just like the bank and PayPal like making sure everything's right and sort of confirming that yes, I should be getting this money back. And I think because of the sheer amount of refunds I was getting, I think it just slowed the process up a bit. But within 2 or 3 days, I got the money back in my account, and I can confirm that I got it all back. All of the costs that Depop take, like their little cut that they take for when you sell stuff, that was all refunded back to me. So I did get every single piece of money back to the absolute point. Now, the reason I wanted to make this video is just so that you are aware that there are scams out there. And if you go to a really popular seller who have 5 stars, just still check their reviews, still have a little scroll and see what people are saying. I know this sounds obvious, but for me, when I see someone has thousands of reviews and it's all 5 stars, I think, great, thousands of people think she's amazing. But actually it can turn out that maybe 10% of all of these reviews are bad reviews. It's just the way that Depop work, and I'm sure it's probably the same for things like Etsy and eBay and similar selling apps as well. The thing I really resent is the fact that I can't really leave her a bad review on my Depop account. When I do decide to close my Depop, which will be once I've sold everything that I can, I probably will leave a bad review just so that people know. But at the moment, I am maybe being a little bit selfish and not leaving one, but I don't want to personally affect my own sales just because someone else is incompetent and arrogant and can't actually send off the items that they sell. Now, since I have got my refund, I've noticed that a lot of my items have gone back up for sale, and I'm rather worried about this just because she did admit to me in one of her emails that some of the items she sold me she didn't even have. Like, she had taken someone else's picture of a sloth mug, and she took someone else's picture and sold the item, and she didn't even have it. And I think that's why there was so much stall in posting stuff, because she knew if I got the package and my mug wasn't in there, I would be asking questions. So it's not a good way to run a business, and I think that a lot of the time she is stealing other people's pictures just to draw more people into her shop. And hey, it works, it got my money, and if I hadn't have been so persistent, I did send over 100 messages in the end. If I hadn't been so persistent and I didn't have all of you guys to help me and sort of gain confidence from, and also help like bombarding her and getting her to actually pay attention to me, then, you know, I could have possibly lost my money. And if I'd left it a day later, it could have gone into her account and that would have been the end of it, and I never would have seen it again. Every message that she has sent to me has been absolutely lovely, and this is something which I am really sort of mixed feelings about. She is very polite. She does make sure that she is saying sorry and thank you. It appears that she has good manners. She's always putting emojis. It's always happy. She's never said anything really that negative towards me. But at the same time, a lot of it was a big web of lies, so you kind of have to take everything she says with a pinch of salt. And it's just very tricky when you're asking for someone's money back and you are actually really upset with them and annoyed by them when they are being so nice back to you. You feel almost like you are in the wrong. And if any of you are having this problem, you've got to remember that it's your money and you have given this person your money and they haven't given you back what you've paid for. So they are the ones that are in the wrong. They can be as nice as pie. They have still lied and they have still taken your money unfairly. So you need to just keep that in mind. And yes, definitely be polite back. I was never horrid to her. I never really was very firm or argumentary with her. I was very calm, but at the same time I was very persistent that I wanted my money back and that I'd had enough of all this fuss. I sent a big thank you message to Depop because they handled the situation so well, and at the end of the day I got what I wanted. I got my money back. Yes, I didn't get my items, but I got all my money back, and although it was a lot of fuss, at the end I'm no worse off than I was before. That I can tell you, if you are going through something similar to this, if you are scammed out of a lot of money and there's no way you can get it back through an app, say you've left it for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and it's just gone out of control and the money is just gone, you just can't get it back, try ringing up your bank. That was my next port of call, and I talked to a lot of people who said they had to do that. If you call up your bank and file it under a scam or fraud, they will work with PayPal to try and find the money and get it back to you. It may mean that the bank have to reimburse you and the seller gets to keep their money, but at the end of the day, although you don't get the satisfactory feeling that the seller no longer has money for sending nothing, you do get your money back, which kind of makes you feel slightly better. I have since been messaging loads of people on Depop who are buying from her store, people who are especially buying things that I had bought previously and that have gone back up for sale. I've just sent them a message politely telling them what happened to me and telling them about my experience, just so they know that not everything is amazing with the seller and that they can be a little bit more aware of possibly thinking, oh, she must be busy, she's not replying to my messages, oh, she has a lot of orders, she hasn't given me a tracking number, so that they can get on top of it before it gets bad. If you can get on top of it and ask for a tracking number and then she gives you a tracking number, you're sorted, then you can track your package. But for me, I left it too long because I just figured she was busy, and if I'd left it any longer I wouldn't have got my money back. As I said, this is just what happened to me and I cannot be someone to represent the whole of her shop. My view is very biased because I had a very negative experience in her shop, but other people I've talked to have found an amazing product and got their product with no problem and very quickly, so it's a complete almost luck of the draw. That's why I'm just advising you. Personally, I wouldn't buy from her because it's 50-50 whether or not you're going to get your item and even whether or not you're going to get your money back. This experience has been absolute hell over the past month, but now that it's done, I feel like I've actually accomplished something and I've kind of not allowed her to get away with it. This experience hasn't put me off online shopping. It hasn't put me off Depop at all. All it's taught me to do is just have a really close read of the reviews and also maybe do a little bit of research into the seller if you are slightly unsure, because it's surprising how many people got back to me to tell me that they hadn't received their item and that they had a horrible experience and they'd been scammed by this lady, but they hadn't left a review in fear that they would get a bad one back. Depop has an amazing crystal community and it's such a shame that people like this can come in and tarnish it, because really the people who are on there are just amazing. So what I've done is I've blocked her and I've stopped any temptation from buying from her shop just again. So I'm only surrounded and shown pictures of the things which I know that I can pay for and I'm guaranteed to actually get delivered to me. Personally myself, I've never been through this before, which is probably why I found it slightly more traumatic than it would have been, but also it was a lot of money. If it had only have been £20, I probably wouldn't have worried so much. I hope that you have a lovely week. I'm sorry this has been again a slightly more negative video. If it's sunny where you are, I hope you're enjoying the shade and I will see you next time. Bye!